this is Sai Kumar Kurtivada. In this video, we will learn how to test our Angular navigation and how to test our Angular routes. So let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code. Here I have created some set of components and I have created all the set of routes. If you see app routing, then you can see all the routes here, that is login, register and dashboard. By default it is going to the register component. And now let me go into the browser and see what are the different types of scenarios which we will cover. So when I give a default one, then it is going to register. That means this is one of the use case when the user gives a empty URL, then it has to navigate to this register. And when the user clicks on login, it has to go to dashboard. And when the user clicks on back button, then it has to go back to our register component. Now these are the scenarios which we will cover in our unit testing. For that sake, we need some set of configurations and we have to import some set of modules in our test file. Let me go into app.component.test file. That is nothing but spec file. And here what I want to do is I want to configure all the modules which are required for it. Before going to that, we have some error in running the test cases. Here the problem is whenever this type of error, that is Webpack requires this, this can be seen whenever you are upgrading your Angular application from 14 to 15 or any of the other versions to 15. Now I have upgraded this, and let me go to test.ts, just remove this context and save this and let me rerun. So you can see here 4 are successful. Why 4 are successful? Because we have 4 set of components. One is app component and remaining 3 are related to other components which are related to the routes. So now let me go into app.component.spec file and create our fixture. So const fixture colon component fixture with an app component, and let me create a const variable with component instance which is of type app component. And now let me go into the compilation, and once the configuration is compiled, then I can create this fixture. Fixture is equal to testbed dot create component, and the component name is app component, and let me create a component instance where my fixture dot component instance. Let me give a let keyword here and let keyword here. So now we have created our instances, and our app component should have a module called as a router testing module. So this helps us to create our routing files, and this should have with route, and that route should be your Angular routes. So for that sake, let me go into app.routing, and here these are the routes, and just I will export this and import them. So let me save this, and all the routes let me give here inside this and import it. So now your routing has this set of routes, and the next thing what we have to do is we have to inject our router service. So let router, this is my service and it is of type router service, and then let me create a location. To find the location and find the URL, we will be using a location service which is given by Angular. And now let me go here and create the services by using your testbed. Router is equal to testbed dot inject of router service. I can inject the router service, and in the same way let me create a location which should inject the location service. Before we are using a keyword called as get. Instead of inject, we are using a get keyword, but now it is deprecated and we have to use this inject. If you remove and try to use a method called as get, and if you see here the get is deprecated, there is no get for our test bed. So that is the reason we are trying to use testbed.inject, which came in 9 itself. So now let me use inject, and now I have injected my router as well as location. So let me create the first test case. The first test case is when the user is having an empty URL, empty URL check. So what I'm doing here is just I'm using my router and I'm trying to navigate the user to an empty path. So when the user moves to an empty path, my location should be related to register, because the base URL, or you can see here the default URL is pointing to register. But this navigate is an asynchronous call. To handle this asynchronous calls, I am using something called as fake async, is a method which is given by Angular test cases, and this will not do anything as of now. But if you want to use some set of methods which are given by Angular testing, that is nothing but tick. What this tick will do is, whatever the asynchronous data they are, they will ignore that asynchronous data and it will work like a synchronous data. So now router.navigate will work like a synchronous instead of asynchronous. Once the tick is confirmed, then we have to expect our location.path. So there is a method called as location.path name, but I think there is an import issue. So if you see here, the location we are not importing anywhere. So let me import it from Angular common and save this. Now we got this location and dot, let me use something called as path, which is a method. This will return you the path of the application. That means here whatever we have the path, not whole URL, will be getting only the path, the segment out of the base URL. So now here the path should be equal to equal of, it should be equal to register, and let me save this. So now it has been successfully passed. Now the navigation is done for empty URL. Now let me go with the other test case. The second test case is when the button click. That means login button click, then it has to go into some other route, that is nothing but your dashboard. Here also we will be using router.navigate and also asynchronous data. So that is the reason I'm using this async. And now let me go here and put it over here. Before going further, I want to update my fixture because we are targeting for the UI elements now. Fixture dot detect changes. Once this fixture dot detect changes is stable, that means your UI is ready, then I'll be getting a response because it is a promise based. And let me go into app.component.html because I need to target this login button. So let me create an ID which is like login underscore button, and now let me get this button first. So let me go here and get that button. So const login button, which is of HTML button element, and that is equal to my fixture dot debug element dot native element dot query selector. That selector is an ID, so let me use hash as an ID, and let me go into the component dot html, copy this and paste it here inside the string. Now you are targeting for this element when the user clicks this button. So button dot click, there is a click event happened. Then what will happen whenever the user clicks on this button, this login method will be invoked, and that method is already defined in your app.component.ts. Here if you see, sample user ID is 1 and user ID is 1. Whenever these both are matching, it is trying to navigate. That means whenever the user clicks on this, there is an asynchronous data which is going on. For that sake, what I'll do is, to handle that asynchronous data, I'll use a tick method that will help us to make it as a synchronous data. After this tick, let me expect the URL. So URL can be expected from location.path, which will give the path out of base URL, and that should be equal to my dashboard where it is exactly navigating slash dashboard. And let me save this. If you go to my TS, here it is navigating to the dashboard and all the test cases has been passed. This expectation is done. Now the second case is whenever the user clicks on the back button. For example, location.back. Now what will happen is whenever the user clicks on the back button, where it goes to the empty screen. That means empty path. So for that sake, what I can expect is of location.path, and again this path should be equal to my empty string. Save this, and now all has been passed successfully. So this is how you can use even back button. If you forward again after this back, that means location.forward, then you will be coming back to your dashboard, because here is the navigation happened to the dashboard. I came back to the empty path and again I am forwarding it. So again my location will be dashboard. Let me copy this and paste here, save. Now you can see all the 6 test cases has been passed. Now the second thing which we missed here is the register. So whenever I'm in the dashboard, that means I am in the dashboard here. When the user clicks on register, it has to navigate to the register. That means check the anchor tag. So how to check that anchor tag? Let me go to the HTML and create an ID here. ID is equal to register underscore link. This is my ID, and now let me go to the spec file and get that element. Const register link, which is HTML anchor element, and we can get this from fixture dot debug element dot native element dot query selector of an ID. So what is my ID? I have created here, that is nothing but register underscore link. Let me paste here, and now we are able to capture that register link. Now on clicking on this particular link, I have to navigate the user to the dashboard page. Register link dot click event, and after this click event there is an asynchronous call. Why? Because we are using RouterLink. RouterLink will also work like a router.navigate. That is the reason I am using a tick event here. And now let me expect my location dot path to be equal to my register path. Register, and let me give semicolon. Save this. Now everything is passed. Now what we have covered in this test cases, we have covered our router link path, and also we have covered about router.navigate. Now everything is working perfectly in the navigation from our test cases. So there is one more thing which we can test, that is nothing but router link active. If you see here, now the user is at the register page. So when the user is in the register page, there is one more expectation from this anchor tag. So what is that anchor tag? Register link dot class list of 0 dot, or just you can use something like const index is equal to register link dot class list dot contains of, just pass the token. What is my token here? The token is related to active class. When I am in the register page, it should be active, so I can make it as is active. And now this is active will give us true or false, that we can check here. Dot to be truthy. Save this, and now you can see everything is passed. That means whenever he is in the register page, this link should be in active color and that active class should be applied. And the same strategy we can even experiment whenever I'm in the dashboard, that is inactive. So when the user has this link, let me cut this and paste above so that all the elements will be at the top level. Now I'm using is inactive. When the user is in inactive, then the class will not contain in that list. So that is the reason we can use dot to be falsy and save this. Now everything is passed. Whenever he is in the dashboard, the active class will not be applied. When the user is at the register page, then that active class is applied. Hope we have covered all the test cases in this routing, and we will see some more test cases with some more scenarios in the upcoming videos. And before watching this complete video, I'll highly recommend to watch our navigation in Angular video. I'll provide the link in the description. Please watch that for better understanding. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.